One day while exploring the wasteland just north of Friendship Station, we stumble upon the sound of a firefight taking place in the alleyway of a ruin. Rounding the corner, we find 3 hunters fighting a glowing one, and we can intervene on their behalf. Well, we weren't fast enough to save the life of the guy with the sledgehammer.
That's for me.
But we saved the other 2. His companions don't really seem to care about the fact that their friend just died.
What do you need?
I could use some food. Got anything for sale?
Well, sure. We've got plenty for the moment.
But all she has for sale is strange meat. 7 pieces going for 3 caps apiece. This strange meat heals 5 HP but douses us with 2 rads. It appears to look like meat on a shish kebab. At first glance, we don't really understand exactly what's so strange about it. And so we can ask her, what kind of meat is that you're selling anyway?
The very best kind. Try some. You've never tasted sweeter, I'll warrant.
And with that, she gives us a free sample. Well, meat isn't supposed to taste sweet. It's a savory. That's kind of the hallmark of meat. So, see you later.
Bye.
Hey there.
Well, hey there, guy. You seem friendly.
What do you need?
Are you selling strange meat, too?
Got a taste for it now, do you?
Okay, yes, he is. I've gotta go.
Yeah, see you.
With that, they walk off. Well, my curiosity got the better of me. Opening up our inventory, we can take a look at this strange meat. I mean, it has no negative side effects that we know of. So, well... Okay. I've had worse in the wasteland. Turning around, we can loot the corpse of their friend, and on his body we find another stack of strange meat. You know, if they were cannibals, you'd think they would have eaten their friend. You know, why let fresh meat go to waste? But, you know, just because it's strange doesn't mean it's human. I mean, there's a lot of strange meat out there. I mean, Mirelurk is pretty strange. Cram, pre-war. It's pretty strange. I'm just going to assume this is not human meat, just for the sake of my peace of mind. At any rate, after walking north-northwest for a while, we stumble upon a broken road that goes uphill to the north. It crests a hill, and at the top, we find a fenced-off area with the ruin of an overpass towering above it. But as we get closer, we come under fire from raiders inside a floating guard pod. The raider runs out to attack us, and as we get closer, more raiders attack from the roof of a concrete structure on the other side of the fence. We can hide behind this bit of plywood and then run around to get him. Alright, well, I only had a 37% chance, even though I had a small gun skill of almost 100. That's bullcrap. Fine, I'm just gonna treat this rifle as a shotgun from now on. After looting the body, we can move into the floating pod and then peer out the window towards that structure. The raiders seem to have moved off, so turning around, we can loot a grenade box on the ground by some sandbag barricades and a first aid kit on a table. Then back at the window, we see that the raiders have come down to the ground. Stinking guy. That's it, no more hide and seek. Then, racing into the pod, we can switch to the Chinese assault rifle. Woo. Nasty. So I turned gore back on in my game when I filmed a montage for the railway rifle after we got it. There's no point in talking about a railway rifle if you can't dismember heads, and I forgot to turn it back off, so please don't demonetize me, YouTube. It's ketchup. Yeah, just ketchup. This last raider opened a gate in the fence. Heading inside, we can finish looting the bodies and then hide behind this concrete wall. We see another concrete structure off to the northwest, a truck in the middle of the road, and moving northeast, we see a ruin in the middle of the complex. As we round a corner, we discover the Wheaton Armory, but no raiders. Yeah, missile launcher!
Oh, Doctor, we got a raider!
Run away! We can try to hide behind this wall. Well, we dodged one. Can we dodge the next? Oh! Oh, no! Oh! Then racing into the guard post. We can heal up and wait for him to come to us.
Come on, come on!
All right, is that it?
You're gonna die!
Oh, come on.
Eat it!
Oh, that had better be it. Peering out the window, we don't see any more, so we can head down to loot the bodies. Heading back inside, we again round this corner, and this time, a missile doesn't fly at us. We see an alleyway moving east. Following it, it ends at a giant concrete wall and moves north. Continuing north down the alley, we find a staircase that leaves this complex. But then, the alley lets out to an open space to the north. Here we find a truck parked by another gate. And just then we get attacked by more raiders by the northern gate.
Oh!
And with that, we finish clearing all raiders outside Wheaton Armory. By the northern checkpoint, we find another guard post, but there's nothing inside this one but bloody handprints. There's a sandbag barricade outside the fence, but it's empty. So heading back towards the complex, we see that there's a structure directly across from the ruin that looks sort of like a bunker? Well, it's a facility of some sort. We'll have to explore it, but let's start with this ruin. Exploring the ground floor, we find lots of broken rooms and a few doors. These lead to more broken rooms, but they're all empty. This one has a big hole in the roof. Looks like there's a lot more to explore above us. After we finish with the ground floor, we can use a rubble ramp to climb to the second. We find a room to the right and a room directly ahead of us. Heading inside, however, we see a lot of open space, but no loot, beds, no signs of habitation. Doors leading to ledges. Broken rooms with nothing but rubble or giant holes in the floor. But eventually we find another staircase leading to the third floor. Here we find a hole in the wall that leads to another staircase going up, but exploring the rest of this floor, we don't find anything. It's got a great view of the facility off to the west, but there's nothing up here. And so we can move back to the staircase and take it to the fourth and final floor. And at last, here, against a wall in a northeastern nook, we find a big stash of goods. 3 ammunition boxes, and 2 first aid kits, none of which are locked. But sadly, we don't find a bed. Dropping back down to the ground floor, we see that night is beginning to fall. The exterior lights are beginning to flicker on. We can climb up a wooden ramp into the back of this truck, and here we find a few more goodies, a grenade box on the ground, a few shelves with jet, a first aid kit, more jet on the ground, 2 more ammo boxes at the rear of the truck. Turning around and looking out the back of the truck, we see a couple of pods just outside the entrance to this bunker. Moving out and exploring the western one first, we follow a trail of blood until we arrive at a safe. It's locked with an average lock, but donning our utility jumpsuit, we can pick it. Inside, we find a stack of about 60 bottle caps. But this is a dead end, so heading out, it's night, and the moon sits high in the sky. The exterior lights of this facility have flickered on, and they continue to flicker in the pod just across this delivery bay. Heading inside, however, we discover that the pod is mostly empty. We find a stack of darts in one box, but that's about it. Back on the ground, we can look at the structure. To try and figure out exactly what this is, we see big tanks sitting on top of it with pipes snaking all over the exterior. Then on the very top, we see what appear to be radio antennas. What kind of facility needs a bunch of exterior-mounted fluid tanks and radio antennas? To find out, we can head inside. We arrive in a small, darkened room, and the first thing we see is the yellow and black of a radiation sign. Moving forward to turn off the radio, we pick up our first rads. So, putting on our radiation suit and dousing ourselves in Rad-X, we see that the door is closed with a security door so we can first explore this small room. We find a dumpster here and barrels, lots of garbage scattered around. Then on the southwestern end, we find barrels of toxic radioactive waste sitting in this bay or shelf or something. What's all this about? Were they disposing of the barrels here before the war or just storing them here? We find a closet door to the northwest. This was a pantry. Inside, the shelf and fridge are ruined, but there is a toolbox in here with scrap inside. That appears to be it for this section, so when ready, we can head to the security door and open it. We arrive in a room bathed in red light. Our Pip-Boy compass does pick up an enemy to the northwest, but we can risk a light for now. There's a small amount of scrap on a shelf to the north. The red light is coming from a closed door to the south, and the red tick is coming from the northwest. But heading through the door to the northwest, we round a corner to see that this pathway is all blocked up. So, turning around, we can move towards the red light and open the door. This time, we arrive in what appears to be a server room. We see big computers and tape recorders lining the walls of this room. To the left, we find one gun cabinet with an assault rifle and ammunition inside, a desk with shotgun shells and caps inside, and to the right of the desk, another gun cabinet with a 10mm submachine gun inside. There's not much else in this room, just huge computer banks. But this room opens out through a door to the west, and this door is flanked with even more radioactive signs. Moving inside, we do start to soak up more rads. Even in our radiation suit, we've gone from 1 rad per second to 2. We see that we're in a pod overlooking a large chamber below. To the left is a shelf with goodies, some Radaway and Rad-X, all right, a first aid kit on top, an ammunition box on the bottom, another one on the ground. But this section is a dead end. To continue, we can turn around to the north and take a staircase out of this pod. We arrive on a catwalk, and from here we can better look over the chamber below. Peering up, we see shafts of moonlight pouring through a crack in this hatch. And looking down, we see another hatch on the ground. Let's see if we can get closer. Rounding a corner, we pass a shelf with scrap, a barrel on fire, more computer banks, an ammo canister against a wall, until we find another staircase leading us even further down. Upon reaching the bottom, we find a doorway leading to a hall to the right, and a staircase leading to this ground level. Moving down here first, we find a bunch of rubble and ruin. And in the middle of the chamber, we see that hatch. Standing directly on top of it, we begin to pick up 3 rads per second. This is the source of the radiation. And it looks like we're standing in a pre-war missile silo. The radiation must be coming from a nuclear warhead. At any rate, moving back to the staircase, we can head down the hallway. Ah! It's a security turret! Backing up, we can hide behind this wall and try to pick it off. Oh, we got it, but it destroyed our radiation suit. We're now picking up 9 rads per second. But this number gets lower as we move down the hallway. We see a terminal at the end of the hallway, but then to the left we find a room. Inside the room is another terminal, a turret control system locked with an average lock with a first aid kit on the wall beside it. Well, we could have hacked this sucker, but turret's gone now. Oh well. On the ground before us are bones. We find at least 2 full human skeletons, bleached by time. Perhaps these were pre-war workers of this nuclear silo who were killed by the turret or succumbed to the radiation. One of the skeletons lies before a shelf. Here we find some Radaway, Rad-X, a stim pack, and no fewer than 4 ammo canisters, one of which is locked with an average lock. We can pick it to loot the contents. Then we can look at our Pip-Boy to see what this radiation has done to us. Oh, we're at 769, yikes. Well, we've got the Radaway, might as well use it. But with a broken radiation suit, we'll have to make this trip quick. Back to the hallway. We can turn north. And at the end of the hallway, our rads actually go down. We're getting further away from the source of the radiation. Here we find the body of a raider with mentats on the ground beside him. And looking up, we understand why. Here we find a very hard-locked computer terminal. This raider was trying to increase his intelligence so he could hack this terminal. But he succumbed to the radiation before he could do so, or was killed by the turret. And the door next to it is also locked with a very hard lock. We need a science or lock-picking skill of 100 to get into this room. Well, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to leave whatever is in this room behind. But what kind of video on the Wheaton Armory is it if I don't actually show you what's in the armory? So using console commands, we can unlock the terminal and read it. Authorized personal only. I think that's supposed to be personnel. This room is to remain locked at all times. Use of this terminal without proper clearance is strictly forbidden. Area is under surveillance. And from here we can unlock the door. Oh no! What's that? An alarm immediately begins to blare. Does that mean we need to rush? Opening the door, we can step inside, and whoa! What have we here? To the right, we find a table with 2 missile launchers on top of it. Beneath the table are ammo canisters filled with missiles, and on top of the table is a copy of U.S. Army 30 handy flamethrower recipes. To the left of this is another table with a minigun on top. Beneath it are 3 ammo canisters with 5mm ammunition. In the middle of the room is a table with 2 sniper rifles on top. And next to these are ammo canisters filled with .308 caliber rounds. Against the northern wall is a shelf with, radiation suits. Oh man, I could really use one of these, but I can't take anything here. We find combat knives, pulse mines, assault rifles, 4 ammo canisters, a stack of Radaway, and a pile of Rad-X. Then to the left of this is another table with another ammo canister and a bunch of explosives, plasma grenades, and frag mines. Well, maybe someday if I ever get my lock-picking skill up high enough so that I feel like I deserve it, I'll come back and loot the place. For now, we gotta get out of here. This alarm is blaring. What's gonna happen? But as we go down the hallway and move to the pod and begin climbing the stairs, the alarm gets fainter. We don't see any movement in the nuclear silo. The hatches don't open. Nothing is happening. If the alarm was tied to any consequences, they must now be disabled 200 years later, and so we can climb our way out of this place and exit to the capital wasteland. And that's it for the Wheaton Armory. Turns out it was a pre-war nuclear missile silo. I wanted to see if we could find the exit hatch on top, so climbing around this fence and scaling the concrete towards the antenna, sure enough, we find the exit hatch right here. This leaves us with a question. Did this missile silo, so close to the ruins of DC, actually fire its nuclear payload during the Great War on October 23, 2077? Or was the silo so damaged when the bombs dropped that it never got a chance to operate? Perhaps there is still a live nuclear warhead down there, ready and waiting. But for now, we can leave the Wheaton Armory behind us and walk off towards other adventure. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss my next one, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members and patrons on Patreon gain access to a private channel on my Discord server, and YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos, and access to ox emojis that they can use in my video comments and in the live chats of my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.